What I learned in that journey was
the future is not a scary place.
Just did the same as being 9 to 5, then
if you want to start a company, just try and do this.
There was one very big failure years before.
But it can be isolating when you have really difficult decisions to make.
You're not just part of the conversation, you are actually the catalyst for helping to move this industry forward.
this is just to
go back to the main thing.
You are told that
I gave up the
Open bricks came.
one of the biggest. I started.
I'd say I started. I'm here because none of
I figured technicals. It isn't about
All these.
I had.
From my experience, try and avoid the blue sky thinking, try and avoid the long-term future plans. If you're bootstrapping, which is what I was, and that's from the perspective in which I comment, just try and add value. Try and increase sales, try and increase revenue, try and look at profitability from a day-to-day basis. Don't do anything in the day which is not adding to your revenue or your profit in some way. I can talk personally about that in when I was sitting on my own, having started my business in my small flat in London, looking at my numbers thinking, gosh, these don't look very good. Instagram in all its kind of glory knew exactly what I was thinking and fed me an advert for a company that could flip businesses. And it said, whatever the size of your business, whether it be big, whether it be small, whether it be turning over 10 million or whether it be turning over 10 pounds, we can make money for you on your business. Get a free consultation and valuation. I thought that sounds good.
I think what's important, just as I talked about the relationship with Alexandra and whatever we may go through in the moment, there's these two really critical foundations which are pretty unshakable and therefore are steering us. I think we have the same thing with Brilliant. I think the family business means they've made a really important personal commitment. It's a personal commitment by them to pastor evangelists, and so I think that's very meaningful, just as their name is on the product. So we feel that same passion at our tiny scale at the moment compared to Barilla. And so I just think there's a great alignment there within that kind of family business, even though it's just such a huge business and undertaking, Barilla. We have this similar outlook. We have a very, very great shared passion for food. So the Barilla brothers taste everything that Barilla develops in the same way that I attend every Thursday weekly tasting session in our pastificio facility. We share those values with the brothers, but also with the senior managers at Barilla. And so I think that's what keeps us really well aligned, despite the pastor evangelists operating in a very different way by nature compared to the way Barilla, which is a huge global business with many thousands of employees, work.
And what would I say are the top 3 values that have made you successful today along that same theme, right? You got independence, if you want to stop as one.
Well, I would say the top 3 values that have actually guided me in my career would be integrity, right? Independence and innovation. So I start with integrity because, and this goes actually to the nice is not kind. Integrity is saying what you think, right? And doing what you say. So integrity all the way through a person and a leader, right? Some people talk about it as authenticity, but really being integrated in what you think, what you say, and what you do. Really critically important in everything that I've done. And sometimes it's gotten me into trouble, but in the long run, people really respect integrity and people see it and they recognize it. You know, the second one, intelligence, or independence, we talked about that, you know, and saying like, nobody's coming to save you. You just have to figure things out on your own. Like, you just gotta do it all by yourself, you know, sometimes. And then once you start doing things by yourself, it's a really interesting thing because people will want to join your cause, right? But you can't wait for followers or you can't wait for other people to help before you start. Okay, so the second one is independence. And then the third is innovation, right? Constantly pushing boundaries and not accepting that things are what they are and just saying like, things should be different. Things should be different. How are things going to change? And just continuing to drive that.
And behind all this, what are kind of the top 3 values that have made you successful today?
I would say social impact is at the heart of everything I do. I always think about how is what I'm doing or solving problems for people, how is that impacting their life? And if it's not positive and if it's not meaningful, I don't do it, which is why I quit teaching. The minute I felt like I'm no longer making a difference and adding value, it means my time can be then dedicated to something else to make someone else live a better life. So for me, definitely quality of life and social impact. I'd say believing in my vision or believing in my gut and seeing it through, because if it was easy, anyone would have done it, right? So failing forward is basically the thing that kept me going, because you're always going to fail. You're always going to learn from your mistakes, but you just have to keep going. And I say that to everyone that joins the team, that every time you're going to develop a new piece of tech or an innovative idea, it will always not work the first time. Don't feel disheartened. Don't feel disappointed. Totally fine. Just fail quickly so that we can quickly recover, and also fall forward. Keep going. Fall forward. Keep going.
I think focus is a dangerous word. And I think focus is a dangerous word because does focus mean to the exclusion of all else? Does focus mean which things I choose to pay attention to? To my mind, those are 2 separate questions. So I think grit and determination are better indicators of your potential success than quote unquote focus. Not to get into like noodling words, but I think you have to be willing to get hit again and again and again and again to achieve anything. And one of the downsides, I think, of social media is that we see these people who appear to have done it overnight. Like everyone online is driving a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, flying on their G6. They're $1 billion at 24. And if you let that nonsense get into your head, then you think, I haven't gotten anywhere, and so what was all this focus about? I should change my focus. I could change and change and change.
You have to be very resourceful in terms of how do you get the best from resources that you can't afford, create relationships with people that know what they're doing, be nice to them. But most people will help. I mean, it's amazing how many brilliant people have helped me and not wanted anything in return but just to see me do well. That's all they want. And what you find is usually the more experienced and perhaps perceived to be senior they are, the more willing they are to help and give it all away for free, because they're already, got millions in the bank and all the rest of it. So you have to be very resourceful as a founder. And then you have to hire the right mindset and train them. In a nutshell, you have to do it in a way so that they're motivated to stay.
Successful. I guess I'm constantly 100% learning, and I'm very self-critical, maybe a little bit too much, and I'm constantly striving to improve myself. So I think maybe the striving to improve myself element, for sure. The second one, listening skills. Genuine listening skills are embedded in my thirst for knowledge and curiosity. So I couldn't be as curious as I am if I didn't learn how to listen carefully to what gets said, and most importantly to what doesn't get said, which probably also kind of goes back to the third bit, maybe it's intuition. So I've been told over and over and over that I'm an incredibly intuitive person. I thought it was a little bit vague and a little bit naff, and I was like, what is this intuition about? And now I started doing so much research over the last couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks only, but there is such a depth of frameworks and logical data and explanation that actually now feels much more concrete. I'll be like, oh yes, I take it then, it's a compliment, it's not something big enough. And I'm really thankful to my intuition, because I think it got me to make the right choices at the right time. And equally, other times, not quite so, but it's been a very good pointer to what good next could have been like.
And from a CEO perspective, what sort of attributes do you think a CEO needs to have? Or what are the top 3 attributes do you think a CEO needs to have?
Yeah, I think the main thing, or some of the main things that you need to have is, I think you need to have the ability to try and understand what matters to people.
Okay.
Because I think ultimately in most businesses, maybe not in all businesses, but in most businesses, you're working with people, and people matter, whether those are customers or whether those are people that work in the organization, whether those are just various stakeholders. So I think as a CEO who really takes that ultimate responsibility to engage externally and internally I think you need to be able to understand what matters to people. As maybe the first one. I think the second one is then to have that ability to translate what it is that you're trying to achieve into that framework of what matters to them. I think I've found that's always been really important, and having that ability to switch between the different types of engagements and the different types of stakeholders, I think is really important.
I find people talk about, when they talk about business, right, is the history is written by the winner, and then they always tell you the good stuff, right? And they mostly focus on the great things that they've done and how great they are and what a fantastic job they've done and all that sort of stuff, and how successful they are and how happy they are. Then if you've ever read, like, I have a great problem with autobiographies where suddenly all these great things happen to them and they never really, how the hell did you, someone offered me a job in Hollywood or something, okay, as an actor. Well, that doesn't happen usually to normal people. So how did you get into this position, right? It's either luck or you're incredibly skilled. So I think, to answer your question in a roundabout way, what I think people should talk about more is the difficulty, the inherent day-to-day difficulty of being a leader. It's never easy, okay? Never completely winning. And it's a constant struggle to get through the level.
I'm very much about giving people lots of chances. However, I want to see in that person their self-enablement. I want them to be able to show me that they're actually trying themselves. Not that you've given them a chance and they've just, well, just give me a chance and they carry on going. I want them to see that they're trying, they're actually showing, whether they succeeded or not, they've shown incremental improvements or steps towards the right end result. And from there, that's what I'm looking for. So I can say, okay, well, this is the end result today. You've not made that, but if you can show me you've done step 1, 2, and 3, then we can call that a win. And then that's what I'm looking for, is that they've shown incremental steps along the way. And I like to give people space, I'm not the kind of manager that's update me every 10 minutes, tell me how many emails you sent, how many calls you made. I like to give you space because I want you to be self-powered and self-enabled. I don't want to be controlling your movements, I want you to believe in yourself and believe in the product and company so that you then don't need